Steve Jobs was fired from his own company and later was brought back with $429 million. This how it happened. Apple's early success. In 1976, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started Apple in Jobs' family garage. By the early 1980s, Apple was booming, especially after the release of the Apple II and later the Macintosh in 1984. Jobs was a visionary but also intense, demanding and sometimes difficult to work with. His drive for perfection often clashed with the more traditional corporate managers and investors at Apple. The power struggle. Apple's board brought in John Sculley, then president of Pepsi, to help lead the company as CEO. Jobs personally recruited him in 1983 with the famous pitch. Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life? Or come with me and change the world? At first, Jobs and Sculley worked well together. But soon, conflicts grew. Jobs wanted to keep pushing risky, innovative ideas. Sculley wanted more stability and predictable profits. Tension escalated, and by 1985, it exploded. The firing. The board of directors sided with John Sculley. Jobs was stripped of all managerial duties and effectively pushed out of his own company. He was only 30 years old. Jobs later said, "I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me." The comeback. After leaving Apple, Jobs founded Next, a new computer company focused on education and business. He also bought a small animation studio that became Pixar, which went on to make Toy Story and change the movie industry forever. Then, in 1996, Apple, struggling to survive, bought Next for $429 million. That deal brought Steve Jobs back home. By 1997, Jobs was Apple's CEO again, and this time he led one of the greatest comebacks in business history. He launched the iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad, turning Apple into one of the most valuable companies in the world. In his own words, Jobs summed up the experience like this. "Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did." The Steve Jobs mindset. 10 lessons to live by. Number 5 will shock you. Lesson 1. Live your own life. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. There are moments in life when we question our path, when everything feels uncertain, and we wonder if we're meant for more. The greatest tragedy is to live a life shaped by other people's expectations, and never discover your own. Lesson 2. Believe you can change the world. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Jobs believed life's magic begins when we stop imitating and start creating. Every dreamer, every innovator, started with the same madness, the belief that they could. Lesson 3. Love what you do. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Passion isn't something you find, it's something you grow. It's that spark that keeps you up at night and reminds you your dream is worth fighting for. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. Lesson 4. Trust the dots. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. You may not understand the struggle today, but one day you'll see how every moment fit perfectly. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every risk, all of it was building you. Lesson 5. Embrace failure. Getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Even Steve Jobs faced failure. He was fired from the very company he built, but he didn't give up. Because sometimes, failure isn't the end. It's life clearing the path for a greater beginning. Lesson 6. Master simplicity. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to make your thinking clean. Innovation comes from saying no to 1,000 things. Jobs believed simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Because focus, not perfection, is what creates greatness. Lesson 7. Persevere relentlessly. I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from non-successful ones is pure perseverance. When others quit, keep building. When the world doubts you, believe harder. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who refuse to stop. Lesson 8. Lead, don't follow. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. The world doesn't remember those who blend in. It remembers those who dare to think differently. Be bold enough to lead even when no one follows. Lesson 9. Follow your intuition. Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. You already know who you are meant to be. That quiet voice inside you isn't doubt, it's destiny calling your name. Lesson 10. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Because life isn't about being perfect, it's about staying curious, bold, and unafraid to dream again. So always stay hungry. And stay foolish knowing that your greatest fear is that you don't know as much as you should. and keep creating your story. If this inspired you, don't just watch, act. Start that idea. Build that dream. And if you need motivation like this every week, please like, follow, and subscribe to Beyond Mindset, because your story deserves to be told.